and I'm going to be giving my own view as to what is the key difference between these two pieces of software. Hi guys, this is Kevin for Pixavert.com. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Gimp and Darktable. What is the key difference between these two pieces of software? And I'm going to be looking at some of the implications that arise out of that difference. The first thing is we're looking at Gimp here, and this is the file for the thumbnail that I created for the Darktable landscape edit that I did some while back. What we have here is something which is very characteristic of Gimp, which is the layers. And these layers are used in design, so we can stack together different elements to create a single image. And the layers allow us to do crazy edits if we want to the pixels inside of the image. This is fundamentally what Gimp is all about. It's about manipulating pixels. The term Gimp comes from GNU Image Manipulation Program, which is the official name for Gimp. And basically what we're trying to do with Gimp is to manipulate the pixels inside of the image so that they create the kind of photo manipulation that people love to see. Because Gimp is continually changing the pixels inside the image, we need a way of keeping track of the changes that we make. And the main way that we do that is with the undo menu. And there's actually a whole kind of stack inside of Gimp which is devoted to keeping tab on all the edits. That allows us to go back in time. If we click up here, we go back a step and we keep going back until basically Gimp runs out of memory. So all of these edits that I'm doing require memory because Gimp is basically keeping a record of every edit that I do inside of its memory. And once the memory runs out, then we start losing the history of the edits that I've made. This is fundamentally different from the way Darktable behaves. So we're here inside of Darktable. This is a portrait that I'm editing at the moment, and this image has changed from an opening, which looked like this, to this current version. And all of these changes are recorded in the history. Now, the history inside of Darktable is very different from the one inside of Gimp. Darktable is allowing us to edit on the right hand side some of the parameters that are included in the modules. So if I wanted to, for instance, I could go and choose the crop tool. And if we crop the image like this, now if I did this inside of Gimp, the pixels that I've cropped out may or may not be lost. Sometimes the pixels just disappear completely. And sometimes that's what you want. You want to get rid of stuff that you know you really don't need. But inside of Darktable, I can go ahead and make as many edits as I want. Let's say, let's come to the tone curve. Let's do a further edit like this. Now this all gets recorded in the history panel. However, the history panel contains tons and tons of edits. Some of these are crop and rotate, and I think I've done crop and rotate several times on this image. If I was to now come back to crop and rotate, I've still got the pixels that I've cropped out. I can go back, restore them, or I can do another edit. This is all because the way Darktable is working, it's recording the parameters. It's recording what I'm doing on the screen. It's recording the mathematics required to repeat the action that I've done. The actual image itself doesn't actually get changed. And one of the benefits of that is that we can come down to the duplicate manager. We can click on the create a virgin duplicate of the image, and there we've restored the virginity of this particular image. This is what it looked like. And if we actually go back and look at the history, it's changed. It's what it was originally. Now, what Darktable is actually doing is working with this original image, applying a couple of changes to it, and telling us you can now edit the image. Now we can change all of this if we wanted to, but usually it's quite a good idea to start off at number 3, the base curve edit. Sometimes you want to go back a step and do something different because Darktable doesn't do what you want it to do. But that's a feature of all software that's used to edit files like this. Now this is a raw file straight out of camera, And this type of file just needs to be improved. The image itself does not get changed. All that gets recorded are the edits that we do to create a particular outcome. Let's go back to the first edit. We've there got the history, and because all that we've done is record the parameters, we can actually go and compress the history stack. And what this will do, for instance, we've got several crop and rotate edits, but only one of these is the one that I really want, which is the final one. So what we can do is to compress the history stack. That will get rid of anything that is no longer required. Like in GIMP, we can hit Ctrl or Command Z and go back and undo certain edits that we did in the past. And if we have a compressed history stack like this, I can go into Light Table and actually I can save this as a style, and that style can be used on other photographs. So if I had very similar photographs taken at the same time, I could then apply the style to that particular photograph. That's something which is very, very difficult to do inside of GIMP. You can do what are known as batch edits inside of GIMP, but that requires a special plugin. Another factor in terms of how GIMP and Darktable are different is to do with the way the hardware is being used. So if we go back to GIMP, the hardware that I have is being used to show this image, but it's also being used to keep a tab of all the edits that I've done. And occasionally when I come here and decide to do some crazy edit, the computer needs to be used at that point to do the crazy rotation that you're doing here, or whatever it is you decide to do. So GIMP does use quite a lot of system resources. It mainly uses the CPU, but if we go into preferences, there's an option to use what's known as OpenCL. OpenCL is a software hardware interface that allows us to use the graphics card to do some calculations. Now inside of GIMP 2.10.12 there's actually a warning which tells us that OpenCL use is experimental and it may not work very well. And generally speaking, I'll say this is pretty true for GIMP 2.10.12 in both Windows and in Linux. Inside of Darktable, OpenCL is activated, I think by default, if you have it on your computer. If we go down to the settings and go to the core options, we've got activate OpenCL support. That is turned on. Now everything in this history stack has to be calculated each time that Darktable shows the image on screen. So every time you see this image inside of Darktable, Darktable has to work to render the image, and that working can be shown down here. Now let me go ahead and change the settings inside of Darktable so that we turn off OpenCL and just use the CPU. We're not going to be using the GPU anymore. And what you'll see is that the working screen lasts a lot longer. And I can actually show you just how different this experience is by bringing out the task manager inside of Windows. So this is the task manager inside of Windows. We've got GIMP, we've got Darktable, and if I make an edit like that, just moving the image around on the screen, you can see the CPU usage is going very high, and sometimes it's reaching 40, sometimes 50%. The other thing to notice is that the GPU is not being used by Darktable. So this entire line is Darktable, and the GPU usage is 0. CPU usage 40, 50%, sometimes it's even more than that. Let's go ahead and change the settings so that we are using OpenCL. We'll turn on OpenCL. I've selected very fast GPU, but by default, it's up here on default. We'll hit close. And now I'm just going to make these types of moves again. And what you'll see is that the CPU is getting about 5% usage and the GPU about 1% usage. And the entire thing is taking a lot less time to process. The working icon just stays there for a fraction of a second. That's something which is pretty impressive. So something is going on in the hardware which is making everything run a lot faster. And basically what's happening is that the hardware is applying all of these edits in a fraction of a second or about half a second, and that is what makes everything nice and snappy. And that's something which makes editing in Darktable sometimes a bit better than editing inside of GIMP. you have the flexibility of the history stack that allows you to go backwards and forwards, and you can change anything anytime you want. You've got OpenCL, which is running at a rate of knots if you've got a powerful GPU. And I find sometimes GIMP goes into freezes where it is using up so much of the CPU here that it literally cannot do anything more until it's finished what it's already calculating. Sometimes GIMP also runs out of RAM, but I've not had that problem since upgrading my RAM to about 30 or 40 gigabytes. This, generally speaking, doesn't happen with Darktable. Darktable does its thing pretty quickly all the time, and it doesn't really care what I throw at it. And I think if I was to go a little bit further, would find a lot of other differences between Darktable and GIMP that makes these two pieces of software actually very compatible, because when we're editing photographs, we can take them into Darktable, do some really basic edits to fix problems and to just brighten things up. And then we can take them into GIMP to do some further edits, just to use some of the features inside of GIMP that are not found inside of software like Darktable. Anyway, I've been talking for way too long. I'm going to stop now. And I'm sorry it got so technical. We're going to leave it at that. And I will see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.